This is the point. So with this, the point is that with this very clear, the observing mind, experiential, then it becomes easy. Every day, or say anytime, whenever you get some time, when you're in a car, but not when you're driving, right? Don't do it when you're driving. Okay. So say otherwise when you are just as a passenger in the car, or you are in a train or an aeroplane or walking, just think of think of the object that you meet. For example, the tree. This tree is nothing but a bunch of atoms, like very fine atoms that you've seen, not really atoms as such with your naked eyes, but very fine particles that you see. It's like millions of the particles. And then where's the tree? When you go to that level, where's the tree? The tree is not there. It's empty. Still this experience. This much you can do it. No? You can do it. That's not difficult. You're getting it? That's not difficult. You keep doing this. Meanwhile, expand your learning. Go for extensive learning of emptiness. If possible, so Tibet House, we have launched 2 programs. Nalanda Master's Course, which is for 4 years, which Deorala and many others are doing, and Vadala and many others are doing. And we have Nalanda Diploma Course, which is for 1 year. That is happening every year. Now the first batch is almost coming to an end. Now the second batch is going to be commencing it was the end of this year. Okay, so these programs will help you to have a very systematic study of that. Meanwhile, on a daily basis, just try to do that. And then say, for example, your mother, your father, your children, your husband, your wife. Once in a while, think of them in the form of atoms. And where's that person who I feel, I'm so close to? Where's that person? It's not really there. Just once in a while, do that. Keep doing that, and then it will become the mental tendency. Mental tendency, which is so precious, right? Okay. Okay, so while things are actually coming from our mind, we see things as so real, so real. And we will come to a point where, just as this neuroscientist, he said, I'm 100% sure that things how they appear to me, they don't exist this way. But I'm not getting that feeling. When I look at things, again, they seem to be so real, right? I cannot have that experience from inside, natural experience coming, but intellectually, not only intellectually, if somebody asks me, I'm convinced that nothing's really there, how they don't really exist the way they appear to me. He said it. So now the point is, how can we make that, not only that you're convinced, but that it literally appears to us as though like they don't exist the way they appear to me. They're like illusion. So for that matter, we need to practice. We need to do as much, because finally our true nature is what? The true nature of mind is inclined towards seeing things as illusion or to seeing things objectively real. The true nature of mind is to see things as illusion, but our mind is heavily enveloped by the self-grasping ignorance, seeing things objectively real every day. For how long? Or for 1 year, or for 10 days? Since beginningless time, it's a chronic illness with us. So the layers and layers and layers of self-grasping ignorance has enveloped the wisdom to see things as the entry of objective existence. Now, every time you do that, you are just a bunch of atoms. This mug is a bunch of atoms. Even my body is also a bunch of atoms. So every time you think, these layers of self-grasping ignorance, then they are removed. The layers are removed one by one. You're getting it? So, we need time. And we will never get a time. Okay, one day, right? Okay, one day I will spend time exclusive for this. No. Time is now. From now, not necessarily 10 hours a day, 2 hours a day, not necessary. 5 minutes a day is good enough, right? How many minutes we have a day? 24 into 60. 24 into 60, right? 24 and 60 is what?
1,444.
1,000. Wow, we are so lucky. 1,444 minutes. From there, just 5 minutes. Check out remaining 1,000 for luxury, for indulgence is fine. 5 minutes, just 5 minutes is nothing, right? Look at the mug. It's just a bunch of atoms. Just serious thing about it. It's a bunch of atoms. Where's the mug? It's not there. Okay, now your job is done. Go elsewhere, whatever you wanted to do. Right? Just keep doing this every day, every day. All these layers are removed. And the good news, although these layers are so thick, but the great Saint Tilupa, what he said is that one moment of light is good enough to dispel the darkness of the millions of the kalpas. Darkness, a place enshrouded with darkness for the millions of years. You just bring one light. That one moment of light is good enough to remove this darkness which prevailed for millions of years, millions of kalpas, eons. This is good news. So wisdom is more powerful. Right? So this is what we can do. It's something doable. So meanwhile, it was okay, now I realize emptiness. I'm very lucky that we went to this kibbutz. Right? For this, the Dharmadhatu of Israel's the program, Geshe Dorji said, just look at the cup, it's made of atoms, there's no cup, and there's emptiness, wow, and then you go to your job. He said it's very easy. No, right? This is to help us to pursue through the journey. It's like ember. It's like the ember. What is ember in? Ember meaning the fire, the fire base. The fire base. We need the fire base, and tomorrow we need to cook food again. So this fire base will be used. The fire red charcoal. The red charcoal, burning charcoal. We just put it under the ash, and then tomorrow we take it out again, make more fire out of that, so it continues. So it should be like the ember. Now what is important is the extensive studies and reflection, and then a little meditation. And later on, when your studies is quite ample, then focus more on reflection and meditation. And with the reflection, once you're convinced, yes, things really don't exist the way they appear to me. And then because of that realization, you have the goosebumps come in your body. At that point, your reflection is pretty good. But then don't be complacent with that. Keep expanding your learning. So then at that point, focus more on your meditation. Once your experience of the goosebumps is quite intense, to see that, okay, how things appear to me, it doesn't really exist like this. And the goosebumps, the cold waves flowing in your body, when that's quite intense, then you need to spend more time on your meditation. Number one, study. Number two, reflection. Number three, meditation. Then the emphasis should be more on the meditation while focusing on while studies and reflections are not ignored. Okay. 33. How the dharmas of the Sugata established as the very middle is through the ox and the rabbit horn examples. Okay, so how the dharma of the Sugata, dharmas of the Sugata meaning Sugata is the one who has gone to the bliss of total pacification, where all the mental turbulence stops. You experience total bliss of the tranquility and the serenity. The mind is so peaceful. So that experience is the Sugata, where all the disturbing emotions stop. Afflictions. What is affliction? Affliction is defined as a mental state or a mental factor, the presence of which disturbs your mind. Affliction is a mental factor, the presence of which disturbs your mind. So, when the afflictions, the contaminant karmas, all these disturbing factors, okay, affliction is a mental factor, the presence of which disturbs your mind. It's a mental factor, the presence of which disturbs your mind. This is the definition of affliction. So, the Sugata is when all the disturbance stops. What's the opposite of disturbance? What? I'm supposed we came in, I go on a holiday to be free from all the disturbances. There are so many disturbances here. When you say there's so much disturbances here, what are you seeking? What's the opposite of disturbance? peace. You're getting it? The peace. This is what you're saying. So all the disturbance stops. That is the experience of peace. All the disturbance stop. What disturbs? Mental the afflictions. Afflictions disturb. And afflictions create the contaminant karmas. They are additional disturbance. So the actual disturbance is because of afflictions. Okay. So how the dharmas of the Sugata. Dharmas, what is the dharma Sugata? The total peace. Total peace that we are seeking. With a fear, there's disturbance or no disturbance? Fear. If you have a fear, there's a mental disturbance. Yes. This is one of the heights of the disturbance. Fear. Right? Fear. For example, let's say, okay, the weather is a little hot, is unpleasant, your mind is disturbed or not? Yes. A little bit. And suddenly there's an earthquake. Then was it the disturbance? Very. Okay. So the fear is the disturbance. You don't want disturbance. Don't want disturbance. You don't want disturbance. And the height of the disturbance, one of the heights of disturbance is the fear. Okay. So we see that where the dharma of the Sugata is Sugata, meaning the one who has gone to the perfect bliss of the total peace. Total peace. So where the disturbance stops. So dharma of the Sugata is when the disturbance stops. So what is that? Are established as they are very middle is through understanding the emptiness. When you see that everything is coming from your mind, then the mind is not being pulled and pushed by any of the objects, so disturbance stops. When the mind sees everything is imputed by your mind sees everything is imputed by your mind, then there's nothing left there which will pull and push your mind. So the disturbance, mental disturbance, pull and push, stops. So that is the state of the Sugata. Okay, so this understanding of the emptiness is understood through the dependent origination. Did we do this here? Last time we did in Monash, I think. So, emptiness, it says, how the dharmas of the Sugatas are established as the very middle is through the ox and the rabbit hole examples. Is middle meaning the middle way. So emptiness, dharma of the Sugata is the emptiness. So this emptiness, how we should understand it as a middle? Emptiness should be understood as the dependent origination. Emptiness, okay. For that we need to know three things. How the emptiness concept is the middle way. For that we need to know three things. Number one, emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. Emptiness is the dependent origination. Emptiness means dependent origination. Number one. Emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. Emptiness means the dependent origination. Number one. Number two, dependent origination means the middle way. Number two. Number three, therefore, emptiness means the middle way. It is not nihilism. Three things. You're getting it? So what we have to learn is we have to learn the first 2 points. First point is emptiness. Emptiness is not nothingness. Emptiness means the dependent origination. Number one. Number two, dependent origination means, the middle way. Very good. Dependent origination means the middle way. If you know these two things, then you can draw the conclusion. Conclusion is, therefore, emptiness means the middle way. Very good. Okay, now, how can we know that emptiness means the dependent origination? How do we know this? Question one. Question two, how do we know dependent origination is the middle way? How do we know this? Okay, the first one. What's the first question?
How do we know emptiness means dependent origination?
Very good. How do we know emptiness means dependent origination? For that, we need to know 5 points. For that, we need to know 5 points. Emptiness means dependent origination. How? Okay, 5 points. Point one, emptiness. Point one is emptiness. Point two, emptiness is the short form of emptiness of independent existence. For example, we say DeFi or the IDF. IDF, Israeli Defense Force, right? Not Israeli Dharma Friends. All right? It's Israeli Defense Force, not Israeli Dharma Friends. So therefore, it should not be IDF, it should be define. Right? So likewise, WHO, who? Hey, who are you? Girl. Who are you? I'm girl. Right? Who are you? So when we say who, in the building, if there is WHO, okay, this building is asking who am I? No, it simply means World Health Organization. It's a short form of World Health Organization. It's just not inquiring who are you. You getting it? So likewise, emptiness doesn't mean nothingness. Emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Emptiness, number one, emptiness. Number two, emptiness. Number two, emptiness means emptiness is a short form of emptiness of independent existence. Number two. Number three, emptiness of independent existence means nothing exists independently. Number three. Nothing exists independently. Number four, nothing exists independently means everything exists by? Hey, nothing exists independently means everything exists by?
Independence.
Everything exists by? Dependence. Very good. Number four, everything exists by dependence. Number five, everything exists by dependence means everything is dependently arisen, dependently originated. So from these 5 points, we come to realize that emptiness means dependent origination. It is not nothingness. Emptiness means dependent origination. Part 1 done. Now part 2. What is part 2? Hey, what is part 2?
Dependent origination is the middle.
Yes. And dependent origination is the meaning of the middle way. How? Again, 2 points. Dependent origination is the meaning of the middle way. How? We need to know 2 points. 1, dependence. Dependent origination has 2 sides. Dependence. First, two parts. First, dependence. What's the opposite of dependence? Independence. So when you say dependence, it rejects independence. Independence and absolutism, they mean the same. Or it exists independently, it exists absolutely. So these two mean the same. So when you say dependent, it rejects absolutism. It rejects the extreme of absolutism. What's the other side? What's the other part? Origination. When you say origination, origination means something comes to the origination. Something comes to the existence. What's the opposite of existence? Non-existence. Non-existence. When you say origination, it rejects non-existence. It rejects nihilism. It rejects the extreme of nihilism. So, dependence, it rejects the extreme of absolutism. Origination, it rejects the extreme of nihilism. Combining dependent origination together rejects the 2 extremes. Rejecting the 2 extremes is following the middle way. So therefore, dependent origination is the meaning of the middle way, right? So from these two, we come to realize that emptiness means the dependent origination. Dependent origination means the middle way. Therefore, emptiness means the middle way, is not nihilism. Okay, so this is what is said here in stanza 33. How the dharmas of the Sugata are established as the very middle is through the ox and the rabbit horn examples. How? See, with the rabbit horn is the beginner example, the first example. Initial example is rabbit horn. It exists from the subject? Yes. Yes, it doesn't exist from the object. Okay, now the horn of the ox horn, right? So that's also made of particles? Yes. And number of particles is the ox horn? Yes. The ox horn exists, not exists? Yes, it does exist, because so say this bunch of atoms, it only is seen as ox horn or not as a chocolate, right? Not as a flower, only as ox horn, where it functions. Okay, this is one part, that it originates as an ox horn. Or the baby ox is becoming, as it grows bigger, the horn also becomes bigger, right? So there's the proper functionality there. And yet at the same time, when we explore, we see it's just a bunch of atoms. Objectively, nothing is there. Subjectively, ox horn is there. It does exist. it does exist. It does exist means it's not nihilism. It does exist. And it does not exist independently. It does not exist objectively. It exists subjectively. It's just mere appearance. So there from the object, we just see a bunch of atoms. And yet it appears as the horn of an ox. So there's just appearance there. Appearance is subjective. It's a subject. It's the perception of the subject. It's just a perception of the subject from the object. It's not really there. So from the object, it's not there. This is, right? From the object, it's not there. Objective existence is not there. No independent existence. No objective existence. So the extreme of independence is rejected, yet it functions. It does exist. Nihilism is rejected. So from this, we come to realize that the dharma of the Sugata, the emptiness, is understood as the middle way. It's not nihilism. 34. The forms of the sun, the moon, and the stars are seen as reflections upon water within a container that is pure. Just so the characteristics are complete. Okay, now the question is, okay, the same everything, even the Buddhas, sentient beings, samsara, nirvana, they're all like the perceptions. For example, say the way there is in the daytime when the sun is bright, and then on the water surface, we can see the reflection of the sun there. So there, the reflection is not the real sun, But by dependence on these factors, the sun, the space in between, the water body, the purity of the water, all these will create the reflection of the sun, which looks like sun, but it's not the sun. So that is, to see that as a sun is deception. So this is how everything comes into being. With the example of the forms of the sun, the moon, and the stars are seen as reflections upon the water within a container that is pure. Just so the characteristics of all phenomena are complete. This is how everything exists. Characteristics meaning how they exist. How things exist is just on the basis of the mere appearance. Mere appearance, nothing from the object, purely subjective. Okay. Now 35. Then the question arises, okay, if everything is just subjective, purely subjective, then the Buddhas and sentient beings both are subjective. Then there's no difference between Buddhas and sentient beings. Yes, on the subjective level, there is a difference between the Buddhas and the sentient beings. Stark contrast between the two on the subjective level. How? Number 35. Virtues throughout beginning, middle, and end, undeceiving and so steady. What's like that is just the lack of self. So how can you conceive it as I and mine? So the virtues throughout beginning, middle, and end. The Buddha, on the subjective level, objectively, Buddha, sentient being don't exist. Both don't exist. But on the subjective level, Buddha and sentient beings exist. Not only they exist, there's a stark contrast. Sentient beings are full of suffering. The Buddhas are free of suffering with infinite qualities, good qualities there. What kind of good qualities? The difference between the sentient beings and the Buddhas. This is a response to the question what? Which question? If everything is subjectively real, then sentient beings and Buddhas, there's no difference. Both are subjectively real. So how can we say that one is very pure and one is impure? Right? Okay, objectively, that's true. There's no difference between the two. But subjectively, there's a stark difference. One has so much of defilements, and one is free of all the defilements with infinite qualities. Like what? Virtuous throughout beginning, middle, and end. The Buddhas, when each one of us, when sentient beings, they become Buddhas, they're virtuous. They're virtuous, beginning, middle, and end. Undeceiving. Say, undeceiving, all the qualities, they are undeceiving. And so steady. The qualities are very steady. And the Buddhas, they remain forever as very steady as the perfect being. What's like that is just the lack of self. Then objectively, what we see there as a perfection is on the subjective level. On the objective level, what is there is just the lack of self, lack of intrinsic self, lack of objective self. So how can you conceive it as I and mine? So on that objective level, there's no distinction between I, mine, sentient being, Buddha, and so forth. 36. About water at the time of spring. So the same water in the spring, we feel that as warm. In the winter, we feel that as cold. It's the same water. Same water displaying two characteristics at two different times. Likewise, the Dharmadhatu that we have, when it displays as sentient being, when the mental defilements are with us. When the mental defilements are not there, this Dharmadhatu displays as a Buddha. Okay. 36. About the water at the time of spring. What we say is that it is warm. Of the very same thing, the same water, when it is in the winter, chilly, we just say that it is cold. Actually, it's the same water, displaying two characteristics. 37. The same Dharmadhatu, covered by the web of the afflictions, it is called sentient being. Same Dharmadhatu, Dorji, each one of us. Nikhil, Yanai. Okay. Let's say each one of us, when we are covered by the web of the afflictions, we are known as sentient beings. Once it is free from the afflictions, when the afflictions is removed, you, the same person, you become the Buddha. It is referred to as the Buddha. 38. It depends upon, now this is about the 5 objects. Now, not only we are talking, thus far we have been talking about the Dharmadhatu, and related to the Dharmadhatu is the self, the Buddha, the sentient being, and so forth. Now we are talking about the 18 elements. What are the 18 elements? The basic building blocks of the whole universe. 18 elements. What are the 18 elements? 6 objects, 6 subjects, and 6 mediums. You getting it? 6 objects. The objects you meet with, they are nothing but made of 6 things, 6 items. And then, what gets access to these 6 is the 6 subjects. And what connects these 6 objects with the 6 subjects is the medium, sense powers. You getting it? Okay, imagine like there are 6 people. Imagine like there are 6 people in the room, imprisoned. And then they cannot get out. So how can they get access to the and if these 6 people, they are not too friendly with each other. They need privacy. Okay, so they want to get access to the outside world. So how do? They get access to the outside world through the windows. There are 6 windows. There are 6 people inside. And 6 people, they see 6 different things. So 6 objects, 6 people and 6 subjects inside, and the 6 medium, the 6 windows. Likewise, we have the eyes, yes, nose. What are the 6 windows? Eyes, nose, tongue, ear, body. These are the 5 plus mental. Don't say mind. Mind encompasses the sensory consciousness as well as mental consciousness both. We can say mental consciousness. 6. These are the 6 windows. And what are the 6 objects?
Sights. Sounds. Sights.
Or the sights. The visual objects, the sights.
Okay.
Sound, smell, taste, the tactility, and the phenomena other than these 5. Right? These are the 6 objects. What are the 6 subjects? Sights, visual objects, we can see through your eyes, not through your ears. Right? Okay, what's the color of this flower? You put it to your ears. Right? It must be through your eyes. What's the smell of this? What is the smell of this flower? You put it the eyes? No. You put it to your nose, right? And what's the sound of this music? Through your ears, not through your eyes. Okay, so there are the 6 objects, 6 consciousnesses. Eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue, body consciousness, mental consciousness. Okay, 6 consciousnesses and the 6 mediums. Because in order for the consciousness to be connected with for example, so those people who are using spectacles, using glasses, particularly if you cannot read very tiny letters, then you use the glasses. So the letters are the object,